what's the worst pandemic that this world is going through? It's not the lockdown that we just survived from 2020. It's the one that's been around for a very long time. And it's basically the pandemic is where are souls going when they die? And the truth that's been locked down for thousands of years. And it's so simple. The truth is the one thing that will set man and humanity free. And yet man himself is doing everything in their power to suppress this truth, to hide it, to filter it off into religions, to pretend that they have it figured out in the political arenas. And then you've got all these people that are just pretending like they actually care about their neighbor, and like whenever there's a war they pretend like they care, but actually what they're doing is they're just building a name for themselves, so like people can be like, oh shame, look, they care. That's the pandemic. The greatest pandemic is how truth has been locked down for centuries, and how souls are perishing, 150,000 souls every single 24 hours, and yet people aren't aware about it. Literally, when the Lord saved me, in the first 3 years it was like I was playing around, messing around. I was. But for the past 2 years, since I discovered what my true calling was, and I saw this pandemic, and I saw this big lockdown on the real truth, I started becoming very fearful for humanity. Because sometimes when I go to normal events, I'll just freeze, like those moments in the movies where everything changes. You know that scene when the music goes quiet and when the sounds filter out, and next thing there's like a violin that comes in and the whole thing gets changed. I have that often, because when I look at souls, sometimes I just think to myself, where are these souls going? And then I look at people and I think to myself, I just see them all smiling, happy with their families, or kids are laughing. And then I just think, where are those people going to be in eternity, and how's it going to be for those people? So I literally look at people very differently to how other people look at themselves. And I just wanted to, hopefully get into your hearts tonight, and just to remind you that when you die, when I die, when your loved ones die, we are going to one of two places, heaven or hell. There's no middle ground. There's no waiting period. It's literally just once you cross over into eternity. You will be more alive then than what you ever were. So it really saddens me when I think how people tend to go to these funerals and go to these religious conferences and go to these different church buildings, these mosques and whatever you want to call it. And people just think, hey, there's all these different truths and there's all these different religions. And then some people will say, yeah, but all religions point to God. If that's the case, then why do we have so many religions? Why don't we just have one? And if there's so many truths, then how come man can't discover what the truth is? Because Jesus said in John 14:6, he says, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No man comes to the Father except but through me. So when I go to these, I've been to these funerals, and I've heard how people speak at the eulogies, and they think because somebody did good in their neighborhood, or because people liked them, or because they were funny, or because they comforted people, that they're in heaven, and that heaven's got some new angels now. That's a lie. And it's a bitter truth, and people need to know this truth. And I just wanted to say that that is the pandemic, and that is how people are sick. They are deceived with lies, and they believe nonsense. And then when they hear the truth, they get highly offended. Just like when we knew the truth. You see, in that certain period, that time when we were all putting face masks on and people had to go and do the thing, so many of us knew, hey, this is not right. And yet so many people were arguing with us, saying, no, you bunch of conspiracy theorists and da-da-da-da-da. We were being accused of all kinds of things. And there you see the Christians, the true Christians, not the religious ones, the set apart, born again, chosen ones. They're out there proclaiming the gospel, and you know who's shutting them down? The people who believe the pandemic, the people who are deceived, and the demons inside of people that do not want them to know the truth. So they fight those people. They will kill them. They will burn their churches. They will burn their children. They will do whatever they can to silence the truth, because they are living in this pandemic and in this lockdown where the truth is being suppressed. And I just want to say, if you are a believer, let me tell you something. Right now, it might still be going very nice for you, but there's a time coming when your friends and your family are really going to get annoyed with you, and they're going to tell you to shut up, and they're going to accuse you of all kinds of things. It's coming. And I really hope that you will not be the one that will run away from truth and then believe the same lies or compromise that you will fit in. You need to be able to stand out at that time and at that point, and you need to still preach boldly the truth. Because if you study the Bible, then you know the truth. But if you don't study the Bible, then unfortunately you believe religion and you believe lies. And whatever someone tells you that sounds godly, you'll believe. But the real truth is all spoken about in the Bible. So I suggest you start it before you die in this pandemic and you wake up in eternity on the wrong side. So God bless you. I hope that you will find the truth for yourself.